Welcome, one and all, to the ancient journey. If you like the video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to us. Today's journey, Jaryd Atadero. At around 10 a.m. on October 2nd, 1999, 3-year-old Jaryd Atadero, his 6-year-old sister Jocelyn Atadero, and 11 members of a local church group leave the Poudre River Resort. The resort is owned by the Atadero family, and the group heads out for a hike on the Big South Trail to a local fish hatchery nearby for a tour. The hatchery is close enough that Jaryd's father, Alan, is not concerned about him being with the group outdoors. At around 11:30 a.m., Jaryd runs up to 2 fishermen along the river to talk. The fishermen can see the other hikers in a group some 50 feet away, and the anglers see that Jaryd is with them, so they have no concern for his well-being, but they are the last people known to see Jaryd alive. At around noon, the hiking group realizes that Jaryd is no longer with them and begins a frantic search. Some members return to the Poudre River Lodge to alert Jaryd's father. Jaryd's father, Alan, drives up and down the trail for an hour but finds nothing. By 4 p.m., as panic begins to set in, Alan returns to the lodge to call 911. Someone at the lodge has already called 911 by this point. By 4:30, contact is made with Larimer County Emergency Services and Larimer County Search and Rescue, and by 7 p.m., search and rescue personnel arrive in the area to begin a search. Searchers begin on the lower and upper trailhead and meet in the middle, but they have found no trace of Jaryd. On October 3rd, a rescue helicopter is brought in at first light for a search. The rescue helicopter crashes, and all 5 members aboard have to be rescued. On October 4th, there is nearly another rescue helicopter crash, as pilots encounter swirling winds that almost force the helicopter into the trees. By October 5th, the search team has grown to more than 200 trained searchers, over a dozen dog teams, professional trackers, a dive team, and a search plane. The search attracted trained professionals, psychics, and even Native American trackers. None had any luck finding Jaryd, and on October 8th, the search is officially called off. On the morning of June 4th, 2003, 2 hikers are in the area near where Jaryd had vanished. They are high up the mountain, away from the campsites of the Big South Trail. They stumble upon children's clothing and shoes and immediately recognize that they have discovered Jaryd's clothing from 1999. They take photos of the clothing and take the photos and the clothing to the Larimer County Sheriff's Office, where Jaryd's father, Alan, confirms that the clothing and shoes are Jaryd's. The sheriff's office returns to the scene and begin to retrieve more items. On June 14th, searchers make the grisly discovery of a skull fragment and a human tooth about 200 feet away from where the clothing was found. How had these remains ended up this far away from where anyone had seen Jaryd? Why were his clothes still intact, and it's still in one location after all this time? Had Jaryd simply become lost? Had the elements claimed his life? Nighttime temperatures would dip into the upper 30s in the area in October and were cold enough to cause hypothermia. But how had no one found him after such an exhaustive search, and where were the rest of his remains? Was it possible an animal had attacked Jaryd? Mountain lion prints were often found in the area, and at nearly 200 pounds when full grown, a male mountain lion could easily make off with a small child. But the question remains, if he was attacked, how did no one in the large group hear any screams or cries for help? Some members of the church group did recall hearing a scream, but stated it was the playful scream of children playing, and not someone being attacked. How did search dogs not smell the scent of blood if he had been attacked? How is it possible for him to vanish, only to have a few of his remains reappear a few years later? Had he been abducted? Several hoax witnesses had come forward with stories of Jaryd's abduction, none of which had proven to be true. How is it possible that over 200 searchers found nothing over the course of a few days of an exhaustive search aided by dog teams and air supports. Officials ruled the mountain lion attack as the most probable explanation, but Jaryd's cause of death remains a mystery. Thanks for watching, and thanks for sharing the journey.